to CryptoCoin.News. Today we are interviewing Michael Chobanian, president of the Ukrainian Blockchain Association and the founder of crypto exchange KUNA. Mike, thanks for coming. So how is the exchange business doing in Ukraine?
Ukraine is booming. If you look at the SimilarWeb website and then Google most of the top exchanges, you'll see that Ukraine is there on top of the list. So yeah, it is good.
Are you missing times when Bitcoin was worth $20,000?
It's not about the price, it's about the volume. So it doesn't matter whether it grows or falls. I mean, for exchanges, you know, earn money in both ways. But when it's flat, it doesn't matter what price it is. If it's flat, then there is no volume, you don't earn anything. So for me, it's great if it would be like 20,000 today and then 5,000 tomorrow and then 100,000 the day after tomorrow and then back to 5,000. I mean, if we would have that, you know, I'll be the most happiest man in Ukraine probably.
Interesting. How do the user activity and sign-ups compare from then to now?
Obviously, it has fallen. I see that trend on every single exchange. So we're still growing, but no, we're not growing like exponentially like it was in December. So in December it was twice the base we have. Now we're just growing like 10%, 20% a month, depending on month.
It seems like many large buyers and sellers prefer to do over-the-counter trading instead of using crypto exchanges. How do you think, does it affect prices?
Well, OTC doesn't affect price at all, but it's the most popular way of buying crypto in ex-USSR countries, namely Ukraine and Russia, which are the biggest markets in Europe by far. And for the reason for that is we don't really have a banking system which simply works. That's why we have to carry a lot of bags of cash and trade for Bitcoin. So that's why, cash markets are still probably 10 times bigger than the markets which we have on the exchanges in Ukraine.
There are more regulations coming into the industry, especially in the US. What do you think of that? Is that affecting you?
Well, we don't work with the US dollar, so we don't serve US citizens, we don't serve EU citizens. For us, it will be simpler. Obviously, we're going to have some effect of regulation in US. Namely, we're going to have a lot of effect after the FATF, the organization which fights against the money laundering and so on. They said that they're going to push for their own regulation and well, it's not regulation, it's basically the rules of the game that they propose. And that will have a lot of impact on every single country, including because, if any country which is under FATF, and Ukraine is under FATF, if you want to stay under FATF, in that case, you'll have the SWIFT in your country. If you're excluded from the FATF, list of FATF countries, in that case, Ukraine would be excluded from SWIFT. So basically, we'll be excluded from any international trade, which is not going to happen. So obviously, everyone will comply with the FATF regulation. Still
talking about the US, there seems to be like many exchanges are under fire because of the price manipulation and because of insider trading. What do you think of that?
It's Wild West. Who said they're not allowed to do that? It's all up to whether you treat your customers well. It's all about whether you think it's good or bad, whether you're afraid that there will be some consequences of your doing. So it's up to owner of the exchange. Some exchanges do it, some don't. We see it like on even big exchanges.
You mentioned about some illegal ICO projects. So as far as the coins, how do you do your own due diligence?
It's a very good question. It's not easy to start with because we receive at least 50 new requests for listing a day. And it's a very time-consuming process because you have to go through all the materials which they send you, whether they have a website, whether they have the team. Then you have to look out whether that team is actually a team or is just the pictures from Shutterstock or stolen from Facebook. Then
or
you
from LinkedIn.
or wherever, yeah. So, and then you look for whether anyone in the community knows of the project and personally met with the founders and the team. And it takes a lot of time, but some coins are easier than others. But we do it. But it's difficult, and I guess sooner or later some big companies or big startups will do it for us.
Decentralized exchanges are becoming more popular. Is there even a need for centralized ones?
If you're dealing with fiat, you have no choice unless you use something like USDT or TUSD. There are a lot of questions to tether. Yeah, so TUSD, we have a listing of TUSD. Far less questions to them. A lot of credible people support them, so I hope they will survive and everything will be okay with them. But until we have fiat traded on against the crypto, we're going to have a centralized exchange unless someone will do a stable coin of fiat, and then that stable coin will be on the decentralized exchange. Because right now there is no way you can integrate something from legacy, which works for, 1,000 years into the decentralized exchange.
But if you could, would you choose
decentralized?
KUNA to be?
Definitely, because I already have two teams. One is working on decentralized, the other one is still supporting decentralized. The future is definitely decentralized. It's not easy, going to sleep and then waking up thinking whether your exchange has been hacked over the night or not. With decentralized, it's by far simpler.
That's very interesting that you mention it, because given the recent major hacks, how do you protect your users' funds?
Cold wallets. We try not to keep anything on the live exchange. We have people who are online 24/7. We try to, cut any traffic from the countries which we definitely don't work with. So there is a lot of security measures. It's not easy.
Another reason for the users of any crypto exchange is the alarming number of exit scams rumored to be carried out by the exchanges themselves. How can you say a person, a user, how he knows or she knows which exchange he or she can trust?
My general advice when you choose the financial partner, it doesn't matter whether we're talking about the crypto exchange, OTC, bank, or wherever, anything financial. I'm always looking for, first of all, who is the founder? Do we know the founder? Is it proven that he's the founder and owner of this service? If yes, then you check his credibility. You do the background check. Second one, the team. Who's the team? Whether there is a team, is it public or is it hidden? If you go to a service which in About section just says that we are a team from EU and we want to change the world and provide good services and everything will be really cheap, it's nothing. So I won't use that services. So obviously I would like to see the founder, his credibility. I want to see the team, whether they have a company or not. If they have a company in, like more or less civilized countries, then it's okay. But if it's like Belize, Panama, all the offshore countries, then obviously no. That's kind of criteria. But before I do that, I do my background homework on the asset that I want to invest into. So before going into invest into Bitcoin, back in 2013, I spent 6 months just reading, watching YouTube videos. What else I did? Forums, Bitcoin Talk. So 6 months of that, and then after, no, I never read Reddit actually, no. And after 6 months, that was just then I only invested into crypto.
Okay, you have created blockchain hub, and also are you planning to create an international series of blockchain hubs?
That was the intent. The original plan was to launch Kiev because it's a crypto capital in the Eastern Europe. Then I wanted to open the Minsk, Belarus, Russia, Moscow, and Almaty in Kazakhstan. But recently came back from Kazakhstan, and to be honest, from last year, they're still on the same level. They haven't grown. It's nothing. Nothing is happening there. So I have no plans in opening Kazakhstan at least for another year. I'll give them another year to see whether they'll grow at least to some, credible level. Minsk, still have the plans for Minsk and for Moscow, but I'll shift them towards the end of the year. I'll start working on them towards the end of the year, not now.
Have you thought about European countries?
Yes and no. Yes, it's an interesting market, and no, it's not my target market.
Which cryptocurrencies do you like the most now?
My favorite is still Bitcoin, was and is, but I'm looking at EOS, Cardano. I'll say these two.
Okay, what about Ethereum?
Well, it's good. It's obviously good, but it's not my very favorite. I mean, as the mean of exchange, it's doing okay. Not as good as Bitcoin, but as a smart contract, obviously number one for now. But I'm not that heavily involved in anything with the smart contracts, with the tokens. So I don't really need it.
Okay,
So Bitcoin for me is, it has practical use.
Okay, what about a year's time, perhaps? Are you expecting Bitcoin to follow?
Expectations, obviously, if we're looking at the economy of the Bitcoin, then I'm expecting that in the future, it's going to grow. But when that future will come, I don't know. Probably not this year.
Thank you, Mike, for coming. Today we were joined by Mike Chobanian, the president of Ukrainian Blockchain Association and the founder of Ukrainian crypto exchange KUNA. Thanks for watching and see you next time.